good morning and welcome back to the second hour of LoveBabz, LoveTalk. I'm delighted because I've been chasing Mr. Taylor for like 5 years. This is Michael Taylor. You know, he runs that Cornell Scot Hill Health Center empire. How are you? Congratulations on your NAACP Health Award. That was very
Thank
nice.
you so much. Let me just say, you're not nearly as excited as I am because you and I have been circling for how long, Babs?
A long
And
time.
trying to get us to today. And I am so excited to be here and just happy about it.
I'm happy too because you're what the catalyst of you being here is that you got this $1 million from Lindy Lee Gold for the Cornell Scott women's wellness center, right? It's a
Yes.
leadership gift to support that work. And you know, Lindy Lee is a tried and true and known and beloved philanthropist and community leader. So Carla Esdale's like, well, you got to talk to him about this. I was like, all right. If you'll come on, I'll have him. How about you?
I'll come to visit you anytime. Just takes us too long to put it together.
I know. Well, you're busy. I mean, you're building a whole. I mean, the
We've
Cornell
been a little
Scott is.
busy.
You've been busy. Y'all are doing some amazing things. You've expanded in ways that it is beyond the imagination of what it started out to be. Talk a little bit about. You've been here since 2012, and the expansion has been incredible.
Uh, we are extraordinarily fortunate to be able to build on Cornell Scotty's legacy. That's so important to me because he was a mentor of mine. So I take this charge very seriously, and it is an honor, and our growth has been significant since I took the helm in 2012. I think at that point, we served on an annual basis somewhere around 25,000 patients per year. Our count for last calendar year was about 55,200 patients.
Wow.
Which is just such a blessing and so extraordinary that people have entrusted us to help them restore and maintain their health care.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, all of that came with a lot of facility improvement, all with the intent of being able to give people the best care that we could give them.
And
So
that facility care means, as I'm hearing it, you've expanded into Fairhaven, you've expanded into Dixwell, and I believe you're on Long Wharf too, I believe.
correct.
And
So,
go ahead.
so we really haven't expanded into Fairhaven. We have attracted a significantly more or greater a number of people who reside in the Fairhaven community, but we've always attracted people from that community. It's just expanded with our additional capacity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
we haven't developed a facility in that community.
Wow.
No
It's
more
expensive.
so, no more so than we've always had our State Street facility.
Mm-hmm.
And we're putting a facelift on it, but we haven't expanded our footprint there. We've just attracted more people from that
And so
locale.
when you think about expansion, you know, New Haven is, I mean, it's not a big city. It's a great little small city. So how do you think about? Do you think about expansion? Do you think about, well, there's one more neighborhood I need to be in, or there's one more place that we see from the
Yeah, so we pay attention to numbers.
uh-huh.
And there are one or two more places that we think we ought to be.
Hmm.
Uh, and we'll get there.
Hmm. I'm
We'll
sure under
get
your
there.
leadership, the way you work. So tell me about this women's center and why is
Oh my
this
gosh.
necessary and important? Like what is it going to do?
So let me give you just a little history and put it into context. For any number of years, I think going back to the late 80s, perhaps, we operated a program on Grant Street called the Grant Street Partnership Program.
I remember this program.
Okay.
Yes.
So when COVID struck, and you might remember that we had a dormitory there,
Mm-hmm.
where we provided housing for men who were in substance use recovery. Well, when COVID struck, we had to shutter the dormitory. And the Recovery and Wellness Center represents the new iteration of what was the Grant Street Partnership Program.
Oh, okay.
So we shuttered the dormitory on Grant Street, moved out of that building, relocated the program temporarily to a West Haven location until the construction of the Recovery and Wellness Center was completed. So celebrations, cheers, all that, 10 years in making. This new 31,000 square foot building opens. We're having a ribbon cutting on June 11th.
Mm-hmm.
This building will be leaps and bounds beyond what we could have possibly done in the former Grant Street facility. We will this time, for the first time, we will have capacity for females.
What?
Yeah. Which is great, right?
Yes, because these kinds of things never exist for women.
Yes, that's what we understood. So this is one of the additional things that we learned by looking at the numbers, Babz, and realizing that there was no place for women to go who were dealing with substance use addictions to get treatment. And we wanted to be able to afford the same range of treatment to females as we do for males. So
Mhm.
we will have 40 beds in the Recovery and Wellness Center
Wow,
for
that's a lot.
males and 12 beds for females. That's a first.
Okay.
The facility is almost completed. Uh, will open on June 11th. We couldn't be more thrilled. This is 10 years in the making.
And so where's this building at? Where is it in New Haven?
It has been constructed adjacent to SCRC, our detox unit on
Mm-hmm.
Cedar Street. It's behind
Oh,
SCRC. We
okay.
acquired what was formerly the Hill Development Building on Howard Avenue.
Yes. I know that building.
I'm sure you do. Many New Haveners do. And the Recovery and Wellness Center has actually been constructed between the Hill Development Building on Howard Avenue and SCRC, our detox unit, on Cedar Street.
Okay.
So if you
Wow.
drive down Minor Street, the formal address is 149 Minor. So if you drive down Minor Street, you will see it constructed there.
Mm-hmm. It's over there by the Boys and Girls Club.
Yes, right across the street from the Boys and Girls Club.
I know it.
And
I
I have
love.
to tell you, the building is spectacularly beautiful.
So what kinds of things will go on in there, Michael Taylor? Like what happens in there?
So I'll take you through um, the typical care path for people suffering from substance use treatment. They will come into our detox unit, be detoxed. They might be put on some form of medicated assisted treatment to suppress their cravings. Usually at the end of detox, they're not exactly stable in their sobriety. And so they will then they used to go into the Grant Street Partnership Program for males, which provided them an opportunity to become more stable in their sobriety and participate in partial hospitalization and intensive outpatient therapy to stabilize them in their sobriety. And that's what will happen now next door in the Recovery and Wellness Center, but now for both females and males.
Mm-hmm.
It will be a hub for ambulatory. We also have a medical suite in the building. We'll have a dental operatory because a lot of people who have suffered from co-occurring mental health and substance issues haven't attended to either their physical health or dental needs for a long time. So we want to be able, like everywhere else at the Cornell Scott Hill Health Center, we believe in one-stop shopping for our patients. Because, people's lives are busy and we want to make it easy for them.
Mm-hmm.
So all of those services will be provided there along with intensive outpatient and partial hospitalization level counseling services.
Hmm. So Michael Taylor, you're
Yes,
not from New Haven, are you? Where are you from?
Philly.
Ah, and so what brought you to New Haven? Did Cornell Scott bring you to New Haven?
In a way, well, Cornell Scott kept me in New Haven. I actually moved to Connecticut before I ever had any dealings with the Cornell Scott Hill Health Center,
Oh,
and uh, built a house here after
really?
after my parents passed away in Philly, and I said, okay, I had enough of this now because I buried both my parents,
Hmm.
and it's time to have a change of venue. So at the time, I still had my consulting firm. I was traveling all over the country. I had a number of clients that I developed here in Connecticut, so I was here a lot. I started to develop a circle of friends, and I said, Connecticut's kind of cool. It is beautiful. I think I'll move there. And that's how it happened. And then I was actually in my car one day, and my phone rang, and someone asked me to come and do some consulting work at the Cornell Scott Hill Health Center. Now, I knew Scotty very well, and he had sort of adopted me. Uh, and so it was such an honor to be able to provide assistance in an organization that he founded. And I made the mistake of blinking Babz. And the next thing you know, I had a job. That was not the plan. But I will say that it's one of the best things I could have ever done. It's one of the best. I love, 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 love the work that I do here. Have come to love this community and so appreciate how New Haven has embraced me and made me feel like I was a New Havener. So thank you, New Haven. Much love. Appreciate it.
So Michael, do you have a healthcare background?
I do.
It's very unique. I mean, working in healthcare is very unique, I think,
It,
particularly if you're not a
it,
medical
it's
doctor.
special. I call it special.
Hmm. Hmm.
Uh, I do have a healthcare background. I started my career in healthcare and hospital administration in Boston after graduating from Northeastern University in finance and healthcare management. And then did time on the staff of the very big public accounting and consulting firms, where I did every conceivable project in healthcare that you could imagine. And so it kind of expanded my breadth of knowledge because I was simply involved in so many different types of projects. And then went to work for a very prominent healthcare consulting and public policy firm in Washington, D.C. Left there, and I worked for public accounting firms for like 10, 15 years. Uh, Went to DC, stayed there for 5 years, came back to Philly, established my own firm. And a lot of the work that I did in my own firm was for for the federal government and for health centers across the country. So I've
Hmm.
actually been to every state at least twice
Wow.
and had the opportunity to consult with about 300 health centers nationally. So it enabled me to see a little bit.
I was gonna say you had to have seen a wide range
I
of
did.
providing of healthcare in
I did.
centers.
So I saw the good, the bad, and the ugly,
Uh-huh.
and the best. And I like to think that that experience enabled me to do the job and was prepared me to do the job that I've had since 2012.
So Michael, do you think about healthcare into the future? Is that part of what you're charged with, to think about where is healthcare moving toward and anticipate how you can
Absolutely.
pivot and shift to meet the demands?
Absolutely. In fact, we do have the organization has a strategic plan. Our current strategic plan expires at the end of this fiscal year, and we are in the throes now of developing a new strategic plan that will guide guide our direction over the next 3 to 5 years. The
Mhm.
current plan has guided us into all the things that you're now seeing in the community. All of that was mapped out in our current plan. So we knew exactly what we were going to do. And we are in the process now of developing the new plan that will take us into the future.
So what did the pandemic teach hospitals and health facilities and health centers? What do you think the lessons were for that?
I think everyone's lessons were learned from different perspectives. I'll give you some takeaways from the perspective of the Cornell Scott Hill Health Center, and I think other community health centers across the country. And that is what a unique relationship we have with our patients. Because it's an ongoing relationship. You know, we are providers of primary care services. That means even our healthiest patients come to see us 3 or 4 times a year. And those who have more significant healthcare challenges are with us more frequently. Our patients who are coming to us for the provision of behavioral health services are with us more frequently. So they know us and we know them because of this long-term relationship that we have. So when it came to the pandemic and our patients needed a trusted partner for testing and then vaccines, they came to us. And as a result, we administered almost 100,000 vaccines in Greater New Haven.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a
Now,
lot.
bear in mind, New Haven only has 135,000 residents, but we had
Yeah.
people coming from far and wide. And the silver lining of that, Babz, is that we had people coming in for testing and vaccines who would have never thought to come to a community health center before,
Hmm.
and who came here and was so impressed by the professionalism, the warmth, the breadth of services, our facilities, that they just fell in love. Well, and so many of them are patients today. And community health centers were originally founded to serve underserved people. People who are more economically challenged. But now we serve really a very broad cross-section of New Haven residents and a lot of middle-class, privately insured people who just love the one-stop shopping that we offer them. I literally have patients calling me periodically. I remember one person in particular, a woman called me, and I always pick up my phone when it rings in my office. Nobody else does it. And a woman called me and she bursted out into tears. And she said, I want to thank you for the Cornell Scott Hill Health Center because I used to spend the majority of my life traveling hither and yon to have all of my healthcare needs met. And now all I have to do is come to one location at the Cornell Scott Hill Health Center. And I no longer have to do that.
Hmm.
Now, does it get any better than that?
No.
No.
I would say
I think not.
no. So so I don't know much about the healthcare industry. I don't know what level of competitiveness there is. I don't know if you have to think about how many people come into the door and how to keep people coming into the door. I don't know if that exists in your world.
I wouldn't call it competition, but what I would call it is a need to, yes, keep enough people coming through the door to sustain all of the things that you encounter when you cross that threshold. For example, our facilities are wonderful now. That wasn't cheap. We got a lot of grant support from a lot of sources to enable all of the renovations and new facilities. Certainly, the state of Connecticut was very significant in that regard, but from the feds and from a multiplicity of sources. But the staffing is 75 to 80% of our annual operating budget. And the cost of employing the best staff that's available anywhere is also not cheap
Hmm.
and is constantly escalating. So we need to generate enough volume to pay the facilities maintenance, all the infrastructure, I mean, all the staff. And so volume becomes important.
Hmm. And so, we heard a lot of in the news about shortages of nursing staff, nursing personnel, and
Mhm.
CNAs and all that kind of stuff. I mean, does that keep you up at night? Do you have to be constantly concerned about that? And how do you
Ouch.
make y'all more attractive than some of the bigger medical providers in town?
Um, does it keep me up at night? Yes. My immediate response, I said earlier, is ouch, because yes, it pinches. I think what we have done at the Cornell Scott Hill Health Center is built an organization with a culture where people want to work. So we don't have the deep pockets of a lot of larger organizations, but as health centers go, we are fairly large. We're the second largest health center in the state of Connecticut. That size affords us some economies of scale. But more important than that, we built a culture where people want to work. Uh, so during the pandemic, I got my COVID shots here at the health center, and we had a van that used to go out into the community, and periodically we'd park the van in the back of the our main location here at Columbus Avenue, and I'd go down and get my COVID shot. And I asked the ladies, the nurses who were working in the van, what they thought about their experience and why they chose to do that. And what they said to me was that the Cornell Scott Hill Health Center has afforded them to give back to the communities that they grew up in.
Hmm.
And that was one of the reasons that they chose to work for us. And I think that permeates and speaks to the entire culture of this organization.
Hmm.
And we
So
are, as a result, we're like the poster child for we got more diversity and inclusion. We're like the poster child. The Cornell Scott Hill Health Center, it is the United Nations.
I would
You name
I
it, we
would
got
I
it.
would say so, having had some care under the Cornell Scott health centers. I would say so. So, I also understand that you cannot do this work without political support. How do you maneuver those waters, Michael? Like how do you stay politically on top of what is happening in the country and what is happening with respect to budgetary concerns of the state and those kinds of things? How do you manage that?
With additional effort is what I'll say. So I'll start at the federal level and I come down. I am fortunate in so many ways, but one of the ways in which I'm fortunate is that I last year was voted as the incoming board chair of the National Association of Community Health Centers.
Wow, that's a big deal.
Yeah, it is kind of a big deal. And so there are 1,487 health centers in the United States. And in a year, I will ascend to be the chair of the association for all of those 1,500.
Wow.
So that gets me invited to a lot of places that I wouldn't otherwise,
Mm.
and allows me to sit around the table with federal officials when they're making funding decisions, and advocate for health centers. And I'm very appreciative of that opportunity.
Hmm.
So I would add that we also maintain very good relationships with our federal representatives, Senators Blumenthal and Murphy, and Congresswoman DeLauro. And so I go to visit them periodically, and they come to visit us. And we have seize the opportunity to catch up so that they understand the challenges that we're facing and always lend a helping hand.
Mm.
So that's at the national level. On the state level, I'm in a lot of different forums, participating in a lot of state healthcare groups, and it keeps me attached and attuned to what's happening at the state level. You know, we just came through a short legislative session that ended on May 8th. I was very involved and provided both written and verbal testimony before the state legislature on 4 or 5 occasions during that session, advocating for a myriad of things for community health centers. So in order to do this job, I think, well, you have to be engaged at all of those levels. Maintain very good relationships here in the city with Mayor Elliker and Commissioner Bond and other representatives in the city, Michael Piscatelli. So all these relationships are important.
Mm. So,
So
you
now
know,
you know why it took us so long to
well, you
get
know,
together.
and when I see you out socially, and I see you out socially because we go to some of the same events, and I
You're
see you
right.
sometimes. I.e., I just saw you at the Freedom Fund dinner, which was really, really nice.
It was nice.
What do you do to now? I ask this of Black women because Black women, we're just beginning to step more into self-care
Mhm.
and putting ourselves at the top of our list and agendas. I don't know if Black men of merit and note and power uh do that. How do you take care of Michael Taylor? What do you do to relax? Because you can't be working all the time, which I know you are working all the time, but how do you just like, you know what? I need to,
I have a crash pad,
okay.
and I escaped to my crash pad, and which I'm going to be doing, by the way, at the end of the month. And I'm going to say that when I get there, I probably sleep for 2 days before I come up for air.
Mm.
And it is where I go for my respite.
Now, do you answer the phone or do you turn the phone off?
Well, you know, I try to really cut the cord, but I'm going to say that I'm not always successful.
Hmm.
The last time I was at my crash pad, I was there for a week, and I worked every day of that week in
Oh.
meetings. Yeah, so that didn't work. That visit didn't work out so well. So it wasn't like really a break at all. But I'm going to do better next time
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
because I really need a break. But I do have a crash pad, and I have a in that location. My best friend lives 20 minutes from me, and he and I have been friends since we were 18. And so we hang out together. Uh, and I have a whole cadre of friends who live nearby. So
Now,
yeah,
are you a fishing guy? Are you a golfer? Do you play tennis? Do you play chess? And what are you reading right now?
what I'm reading right now is a healthcare journal that's about technology.
Hmm.
Because as I said, we're developing our strategic plan right now, and technology is going to be very much a part of our future. And really started to experiment and do some research on how we apply, for example, in artificial intelligence in the healthcare setting. And so there are a number of things that we are considering, and I'm knee deep in periodicals around technology and applying technology in healthcare.
What do you read for pleasure? Do you read for pleasure?
No time.
No time. Do you play
No,
golf or what do you do for?
I hang out.
Okay.
Like I love to go to jazz clubs.
Okay. I do too.
I mean, love, 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 love. So when I go to my crash pad, I'm not terribly far from Miami, and
Hmm.
there's a whole lot of jazz clubs in Miami, and I'm a frequent visitor.
Now, how often are you taking how often are you hitting your crash pad? Like you have to
Well,
recharge, right?
yes, I do. And I do. When I hit it, I'm probably there 4 or 5 times a year.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
usually the length of my stay is somewhere between a week and 10 days.
Okay, that's good, right?
Yeah, that's good. As long as I cut that cord, it's good.
It's good. It's good. All right. So before I let you go, and I know you have to go because you got to run a whole empire, what is your favorite thing about what you do?
I'm a helper by nature. And so nothing thrills me more than being able to help people improve their lives. I just love that. So Cornell Scott Hill Health Center has been around for 55 years now. We're caring for fourth generation families. You know what an honor that is? You know
Mm,
what that does to the psyche of a kid who grew up in the ghetto of West Philadelphia to think that I could play a role to have an impact on that many people's lives? I, I that's a blessing
mm.
and an honor.
Well, we are blessed and honored to have you in New Haven. I watch you. I see the moves. I see the moves that you make, and I see you out, in spaces. So I know that you enjoy this work. I see
I
it.
really do.
It's clear that you enjoy it. So all
I
right.
do.
Well, I am so
As much as the now 700 people who are the Cornell Scott Hill House Center, I enjoy this work.
I'm so
Love the
glad.
work we do.
I'm so glad we had a chance to catch up.
Me too.
So that means you have to come on again and
Okay,
talk more because
deal.
I want to hear about how you grew up and and your people and all those kinds of things.
You can hear about my people. It's real simple. I grew up in the hood of West Philadelphia. It ain't that complicated.
Where'd your people come from? Are they
Virginia.
Philadelphia, Virginia? So they so
Yep,
they migrated to Virginia
that's correct.
from Virginia to Philadelphia to
Correct. And still
Pennsylvania.
have relatives there.
Still have relatives there,
Mhm.
and you have kids. Do you have
I
kids?
have kids and I'm going to be a grandpa soon
Oh,
in
congratulations!
September.
I hear grandchildren change you.
Uh,
You don't
I'll
know
let
yet,
you,
but I
I'll
hear
let
they
you
change
know.
you.
This was my first. It's a girl.
Oh shoot. Oh
Yeah,
boy. All right.
I'm a goner.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Start writing those checks now.
Gee, thanks, Babs. I thought I was done.
No, no. You gonna see that granddaughter can be like, oh no, 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 no. She gotta have this and this and so yeah, I've seen it happen time and time and time and time again. So,
Well, I have a son and a daughter, and I was certainly a goner where my daughter was concerned. So I don't expect my granddaughter's going to be any different.
any different?
Yeah.
No, no. It's gonna bring up all those old memories of a baby. So that'll be
Mm,
good. Well, that's
mm.
wonderful. And I know I will see you around more this summer
I'll
because
be around.
you'll be around. And thank you to your people for coordinating this time with you. I appreciate it.
I'm glad we finally did this.
I am too.
And
Thank you.
always wonderful to see you.
Always good to see you, Mr. Taylor. And I will see you out here in these streets at some gala or event or something, and we'll talk more.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have a good one and thank you.
All righty. Take care.
All right.
Harry, thank you so much. We're out. We'll be back
Thanks, Harry.
tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow, same time.